Welcome to the first episode of the New Noise Podcast. I'm Ben Ellis, here with my new co-host, Cryan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to finally be doing this. We've been talking about this for a little while now, and it's good to see it coming together.
Yes. So last week we tried to do a video podcast. We had some technical difficulties. We felt it wasn't the greatest, so we didn't put it out for you guys. We want to put out the greatest material possible. So we're just going to make this a audio podcast for now. We're having some more technical issues today, but I'm going to try and fix those, so just give us some time before we, perfect our craft. But we're really excited to be here talking about the Grammys. We're talking about new music in 2017 today. So
very exciting.
Yes, very exciting. So, want to kick it off with the Grammys, man?
Yeah, let's talk about the Grammys.
All right, so Album of the Year. We got Beyonce, we got Adele, we got Justin Bieber, Drake, and Sturgill Simpson. I know you don't know Sturgill Simpson, you don't know country, but
I don't.
I really like that album.
You said it kind of goes back to the core of what country you loved about old country, right?
Yeah, like outlaw stuff. So
I'll have to send that to me because I would love to hear it.
Some of it is like your typical like depressing country.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
I know, but like
some of the best music is depressing, right?
Yeah. But like I said, this album is kind of like a tribute to his son. He had a son and then it changed his whole life.
Right
so
on.
he kind of like wrote a concept album about being on the high seas and just going through life living on the seas, and it was really interesting to me. I really enjoyed it. So that's the dark horse one. Nobody really knows about Sturgill Simpson. So
good
I'm really
for him
happy.
to at least.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Me and you both. Even though we're talking about the Grammys today, we're going to talk about things we like and don't like. We want to make sure that people, whether we like it or not. And so me and Ben are both anti-Grammys, to be honest.
Yeah.
We're not a big fan of who wins and all that, but that's totally cool. But it's nice to see him on there then. If you think he deserves it, the fact that he's nominated, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. But likely, I'm thinking Beyonce is going to win.
Yeah. Well, there's that whole thing that went down with when she was releasing the album Lemonade, the lyric content, there was some stuff going on in the media about like, or her and Jay-Z having problems. Is Jay-Z cheating on her with another woman? She got into a fight with on an elevator and
with her sister or some stuff.
Or her sister fought him or something.
Yeah.
So me and Ben both have talked about this, and we both think that much like when Kanye puts out a record, Beyonce decided to like kind of stir shit. Just to get everyone talking more. Not that they really need to with Beyonce, but they're the holy grail, no pun intended, of couples. I think to see them look like they were falling apart was what got everyone talking.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So, but now she's got twins coming.
Yeah.
And and it seems like all that stuff is past. So whether it was real or not, it seems like it's no longer an issue. But we both have said that we think it was a publicity stunt.
For sure. And I feel that, and I've heard from the hip-hop community that Drake's Views it's kind of like Blink's California. Like, it shouldn't be in that category at all. Because they felt like it was very weak compared to some of his other stuff.
I did listen to it, and because I'm open to, anytime I hear about an album coming out and it's big and it's getting a lot of talk.
Well, Drake's local, too. Well,
yeah, he's...
to an extent.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he's... So I listened to it, and I enjoyed it, but I'm not a Drake fan.
Yeah.
So I don't really have an opinion.
I'm like some hip hop, but I'm more into the beats than the lyrical content these days. I really like the lyrical content in like 90s hip hop and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And like, that grittiness and that rawness, but I don't really connect with the mumble rap these days.
Yeah. The chill.
Yeah.
The chill rapping.
So, but having said that,
with a bit of auto-tune.
Yeah. Apparently Drake's album was very like not mellow, but it was like love centric. A lot of his stuff is.
It's heartbreak.
But, like,
There's a lot of heartbreak on there. It seems like.
Yeah.
I was listening to it, and there's a lot of talk about like feeling like he's being used, and they want to watch. There's one song about him talking about all like everyone wants to watch him fall.
Yeah.
Like and not fall in love.
Yeah. But was Hotline Bling on Views?
I don't think it was.
I think it was like from a mixtape or something.
Yeah.
And then it was re-released on Views or something. Man, that song is catchy as hell.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's what I like. That's kind of what I
was surprised it wasn't nominated for Song of the Year.
Yeah.
Because, Everyone
Ever
knows that
since
song.
you left the city, you
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
When I saw Deftones, they're big hip hop guys, so they did like a cover of it
I just
when they were in Toronto.
I follow Tom Green um on Instagram, and he actually, I noticed he did a cover of it, and he's just like going to it. Tom Green's so funny because like he's always, nowadays he's got that underlying of like, is he doing it as a joke or is he doing it for fun, and you don't really know.
Yeah.
But that was kind of funny to sing. But yeah, that song is really good. Justin Bieber's Purpose.
I can't say I listened to much of it or any of it unless it's on the radio.
I think, yeah, the stuff on the radio is what I've heard, and I will be honest, I'm not a big fan of anything Justin Bieber's really done. We respect him though. Like when he first got started as a kid, like he knew how to play the guitar, he knew how to sing, he knew how to play the drums. But there was a huge period there where I didn't care about anything he was doing. But I would say in the last like 4 or 5 hits he's had, I've actually enjoyed. And I think most of those are on purpose. I really like to Love Yourself. Yeah. And that, I mean, the credit goes to Ed Sheeran there. And I'm not a huge Ed Sheeran fan either. But I'll give him the credit. Like it was nice to hear an acoustic version of a song by Justin Bieber. It showed off his vocals. It wasn't all just clubby and stuff like that. But it's not my cup of tea. I won't put it on. But I do, when it is on the radio and there's not much else going on, I enjoy it. And I'll sing to it too. I don't give a shit.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind Sorry.
Oh,
when it was out.
Yeah,
like when it first came out.
Yeah, that was the first song I think where it was like, oh, this is kind of taking a cool turn.
Yeah,
I do love the "Don't you give up, no, 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 I won't give up." But I think a lot of that, like the lyrics aren't that good.
No,
but I think with that song, like me as a singer personally in the car, I love singing that song. It's a good. Justin Bieber, no matter what's got great vocals, and I think that's what I like about some of his stuff is it's easy lyrics, and I just enjoy singing to some of it in the car when nobody's there and nobody's listening.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the albums of the year. So we'll just quickly run those down again. Adele's 25, Beyonce's Lemonade, Bieber's Purpose, Drake's Fuse, and Sturgill Simpson's Sailor's Guide to Earth. And I think Lemonade's gonna win. Connor thinks either Bieber or Drake will take the title.
Yeah. And like we say, when we say we think they're gonna win, that doesn't mean we think they deserve to win. It's just an opinion on what the majority thinks, obviously.
Yeah.
So for record of the year, which in case you're confused, it's not album. I think that has to do with like single, like the release of the single and how much money it made.
For something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And we got Adele's Hello. Now me and you both have said that compared to her records in the past, like her actual albums, this new record is not strong compared to that.
No,
but
it doesn't have the hits that 21 did.
But Hello lives up to her.
Exactly.
That song Hello lives up to her previous work.
Like Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah, Rolling in the Deep. Perfect example. Beyonce's Formation. I actually don't.
We were slacking. We didn't listen to it.
No, we didn't listen to it. And to be honest, no offense, not really going to.
No, not a huge Beyonce fan.
We got 20. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Beyonce, but I honestly don't understand all the hype. I think there are a lot of other female artists out there that are just fucking deserve so much credit. And maybe that's just me getting older and being a dick. I don't know, right? But Beyonce's been around since we've been alive. So it's like you've seen her do her thing and that's great, but you can't, you look at artists like St. Vincent, or you look at Bjork, or you look at even Fantagram, the lead singer from Fantagram. These people, they make their music on their own. And maybe they'll collaborate once in a while, but you can't deny Beyonce has how many people working on every song?
Like 10, 20 people.
And that would be great, but old man Connor just isn't putting up with that shit. No. So anyway.
21 Pilots. Connor and I don't really agree on our views on 21 Pilots. I'm not a huge fan just because I hear them on the radio and they're played to death. But Connor's gotten into them. He knows more about them. So tell us more a bit about 21 Pilots. Okay,
so I understand they get played on the radio a lot. And like a lot of great bands, their hits aren't always the best songs. I think Tyler from 21 Pilots, the lead singer who plays piano, ukulele, I think there's guitar and bass, of course, and stuff like that, keyboard, like just tech stuff. I think he's got a lot to offer, and I know I think one of the things that ruins 21 Pilots for people is their fan base. And I'm not chirping them or anything, but it reminds me of what My Chemical Romance was like growing up. And it was like people decided because of the look and the fans, they decided to look away from it sometimes because it was like, oh, this looks like it's trying way too hard. I'm not judging them. They do their thing. I do mine. But I will say 21 Pilots, their last two albums, they've put out three, but I think two of them have actually been like seriously signed by record labels. Vessel. That's a great album to look into. That's the album before Blurry Face, which is the one they put out in the last 2 years. That's just skyrocketed. Every hit of theirs is just through the roof. But I think they have a lot to offer, to be honest. I think people that don't like the genre switch up sometimes, and like you were saying, they kind of get labeled as like Imagine Dragons and AWOL Nation.
21 Pilots Canadian or American?
No, they're American.
Okay.
They are American.
Okay. 'Cause by the way they get played, you think they'd be a Canadian band almost.
They're huge. Yeah. And I understand like Heathens, like you're not a fan of this stuff. That was the one on Suicide Squad, but soundtrack. I don't know. Like if you listen to the lyrical content of Stressed Out, it's overplayed and you can barely pay attention to it anymore. But it's good. I honestly think, and they got a new hit called Heavy Dirty Soul coming out, and it's like fast rapping. I think as a lyricist and a vocalist, I really appreciate what he does. It's all over the place, and they even in the new record they talk about how stressful it can be to try and make the record company happy.
Yes,
and
for sure.
They're very honest that way, much like Eminem's been honest over the years, and Blue October's been honest over the years. It's nice to see that. It's kind of like a diary.
So anyway. What was the 21 Pilots album called that you wanted us to check out?
Vessel.
Vessel, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check that one out because I haven't heard anything besides.
It's like pop punky. Like it's
Okay.
good because you like Blink-182, you like a bit of Green Day, and you like a little bit of that area because some people are closed minded about that. It's got that vibe to it for sure. So, but yeah, check it out.
All right, and the last one for record of the year is Rihanna's Work. I think that might win along with Adele's Hello, just because I think that those two are the biggest out of those four.
Yeah.
Hello and Work.
Yeah.
They're simple. Hello. Quack, 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 quack.
Adele's got definitely more, in my opinion, is a better song.
Me too.
Yeah. But me and Ben were talking about like everyone knows the song Work. It was played like crazy. Even when I would go to work, guys would just mumble it to themselves. Guys that would never, ever, ever listen to this kind of music. You can't escape this song. So you're right. It may win. It definitely may win.
So moving on to Rock Song of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a bit more up our alley.
Yeah.
The album and the records were very pop centric. So best rock song. First we got David Bowie's Black Star. We got Metallica Hardwired, Radiohead with Burn the Witch, 21 Pilots again with Heathens, and Highly Suspect, My Name is Human. I'm very familiar with 5 of those songs. I don't know Highly Suspect.
No, I don't.
So let's talk about the first 4 though. So David Bowie's Black Star, unreal album.
Yeah.
Just it's like how does Bowie reinvent himself all the time, every album?
I know.
It's just crazy.
He definitely, no matter what, everyone, no matter what genre you listen to, unless it's country probably.
Yeah. But I'm sure David
Bowie
yeah.
has inspired every fucking artist, I swear to God. And I don't mean like directly that artist. I mean, if it wasn't David Bowie that inspired you, it was the band you love or one of the bands you love that was inspired by David Bowie. And I think it was such a fantastic way to end. And apparently people assumed that he knew he was dying for a long time and that Black Star was kind of put together as a goodbye. But I think they just released recently that he didn't know that long. So it's kind of like, holy shit, the symbolism and the lyrics and all that and the music videos, he was dying, I think.
Yeah. And
they're painful to watch. It's very emotional stuff.
It's like watching Hurt by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, great example, actually. It's a goodbye. It's extremely painful. I'm not a huge David Bowie, like I don't know his music in and out.
There's people who are like nuts for David Bowie, like as we would consider ourselves a casual fan. Like we would know his hits, some of his deeper stuff.
albums
we
like
weren't.
Ziggy Stardust and
Yeah.
Low, and
But we aren't like crazy into them like we are, say, like Blink 182 or something.
or
Yeah.
we like other bands too. Just
Yeah.
so you guys know. We mentioned Blink a little too much, but like Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Queens of the Stone Age,
stuff
we
like
jump
that.
into others,
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, but wow, what I could only imagine being, because me and Ben, we fall in love with bands and artists like crazy, and we need to know everything there is to know about them, and I could only imagine as somebody who's a David Bowie fan to witness those music videos in that album, how emotionally draining and beautiful it really was. So I think he's gonna get it.
I do too.
But let's talk about
the other
others.
nominees. Yes. So
Ben,
Metallica.
tell us about Metallica.
Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I was really happy with this album. A lot of people, there's people online, they always have them, they're called metal elitists. So they're guys who are caught in the past, and they always compare to albums that are classic, Master of Puppets, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they just go on comment sections and YouTube and stuff, and they're like,
YouTube's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Don't ever look at YouTube comments.
Yeah, so like everyone has an opinion. So Metallica released that Hardwired song, which is up for a Grammy.
Yeah.
And everyone, I didn't really like it at first, but then in the context of the whole album, it was like, wow, like Metallica never really left. They still had it in them. And it is a double album. It's 80 minutes of music. It's pretty, you got to sit down and listen to it. I originally gave it like a 6 out of 10 when I did a review.
Yeah.
I moved it up to 7 because I feel like 7 of the 12 songs are some of the best stuff they've done in years.
Yeah.
So whether they hadn't released an album in 8 years. So I think that's why they put out a double album.
Yeah.
Because, the fans want music, they have enough material, even if it's not A1. But I think if they would have released the album separately, it would have done better.
Yeah.
Like with 2 discs. But Metallica's already done that. They did that with Load and Reload.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't do so well.
Yeah.
But those albums aren't nearly as good as Hardwired to Self-Destruct. So if Metallica wins Best Rock Song,
I will say,
I don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be happy with that.
Of course. Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, I'll give my little 2 cents. Ben, we hung out and he played the album for me.
Yeah.
What's that one song where he like sings? He doesn't.
The new one, Halo on Fire.
Wow. Like.
Yeah.
For me, I respect Metallica. I like their main hits and stuff like that. I don't know enough of their stuff, but to hear him actually like sing and like use his voice softly and stuff, man. It was really cool to hear that.
That was one of my favorite parts of the album was he wasn't, trying to be, that guy, because it's kind of dated now.
Yeah. It's nice to see that. Like we've talked about that with Trent Reznor and even Tom DeLonge of Blink. His voice has gotten deeper.
They kind of evolve.
Yeah.
You can't
work with what you got.
Because a lot of these guys, when they first came out, they were just giving it everything, right?
Drugs and alcohol
and
consume their body as they went nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And then, James Hetfield, he's blown his voice many times just because, he had to learn how to sing or else he wouldn't have been able to continue. Same with like Chris Cornell, a lot of the good singers, you know. This just happens that way.
Meatloaf, I think, had a huge part in that. I'm not a big Meatloaf fan.
No,
but
me either.
I know that he destroyed his voice.
So moving on from Metallica, next band, Radiohead with Burn the Witch. Loved A Moon-Shaped Pool, both Connor and I. That was one of the first albums of the year that was in contention for sure back when it came out.
Yeah.
And I loved how they just dropped it. Didn't even give a date. They just here it is.
They're very unconventional. Like they don't listen to what anyone fucking has to say. They're anti what do people want. Yeah. And the great thing about Radiohead is, even though they're anti what do people want, they still give us things we love.
Yeah, and they're always reinventing themselves, kind of like Bowie. Not as intense, but musically, not like image-wise. But musically, every album is just such, you have to delve into it. Yeah. Like Kid A, you can't listen to Kid A, song at a time and pick it from each song. That's
my favorite Radiohead album.
To me, I always go between that and In Rainbows because I like guitar Radiohead too. Yeah. And the early stuff is more grungy, and they don't really like it because it was in a period of time where that was the height of music.
And they're very anti-hit.
Yes, they hate playing Creep and stuff.
Yeah, and so I think back then, Tom York. That's his
Yeah.
name, right? Yeah,
Lead
Tom
singer,
York. I
guitar
think
player.
I think they don't like that stuff because it's very conventional.
Yeah.
The music is very much it's a
Yeah.
certain way of doing it.
Well,
Where now
yeah.
they're very there's no rules.
Yeah, that's what it is to me. And like when I hear Radiohead, and I have like moods for each of their albums. So like OK Computer, which is many people think it's their masterpiece.
I think that you could. It's not my favorite, but
No.
I think it's safe to say it is their masterpiece.
Obviously it was the album that kind of during that wave of like Britpop and stuff with Oasis, who I hate.
Yeah, we're not a big fan of Oasis over
Just
here.
the Gallagher brothers are the worst.
We're not a big fan of Oasis here at New Noise.
Yeah. But anyways, with Radiohead, it was kind of like they distanced themselves from, that kind of rock sound, and they came out with the stuff that was progressive and more like electronic in a way. And then when you listen to OK Computer, and then you listen to Kid A, the album after that, it's just a complete shift, man. Like, it's just like you don't know what you're listening to.
You don't know what you're going to get with this band.
I remember the first time I heard Kid A was at your place at Sherburne.
Sherborne, yeah.
Yeah, and we were going to sleep, and you're like, man, you got to check out this album. And it was just like, I didn't even know what was going on.
It's hard to take in the first.
Yeah.
To be honest, most of Radiohead, King of Limbs is like a great way to show somebody Radiohead.
Yeah,
because it's a little more conventional.
It is, but at the same time, like people don't like that album.
Fans don't.
No.
Fans don't. Yeah,
but
that's true.
I'm a fan of it.
Great album. My buddy Ian has it, and he's on vinyl, and
so do I.
Yeah,
it's a great album.
He put it on for me, and I was like, I don't understand the hate, but I guess when you've been a Radiohead fan for so long, I think people felt like it had a lot of what they've already done in it, or something. Like I heard something about how it feels like it wasn't much of an evolution.
Yeah, it was just kind of, and it was only had 8 songs.
Yeah,
which was kind of like, oh, that's not a lot, but there are some great songs on it. But this Moonshaped Pool, it was like,
oh god,
it was just so bare, and like it was just something that they never really done before, and I just loved it.
I know you're not like because you're so much more into the album. I still like the album a lot, don't get me wrong, but you Burn the Witch is the first song on the record, and it's the one that's up for best rock song. You think it's one of the worst songs on the record. I feel still like, amazing,
but sometimes that's the way it goes. That was the first single from the record.
I love that song. I think that opener with the strings oh, it's just so, it's like, it's that uplifting feeling you get that people in the 80s used to get from like U2.
Yeah.
But it's this whole new thing, and I fucking love it. I love the orchestrated stuff.
That's the big thing on this album is the orchestra.
Yeah.
But I preferred the second song, Daydreaming.
Great song.
Which is just, it kind of it sounds what it is, Daydreaming.
And we both own these on vinyl.
Yeah.
This album on vinyl, because it's, say what you want, it's definitely one of the best things that come out of 2016.
Yeah. So Burn the Witch is up for best rock song. 21 Pilots, Heathens.
We don't need to go right into it. We've talked about them enough, but obviously it's more of a Bear song. It's very much the same, and that's what I think people don't know about 21 Pilots is if you dive into their other stuff, the music switches up a lot. But anyway,
and Highly Suspect, we don't know them.
We don't know them, so we're not going to act like
apologize for that. Now at his best rock album,
it's going to get all political up in here now.
Yeah. The nominees for best rock album this year were not the greatest. So we got Blink-182 with California. If you know us in any extent, you know that we're not a fan of that album. Yeah. Cage the Elephant, Tell Me I'm Pretty. Gojira or Gojira with Magma. Panic at the Disco with Death of a Bachelor. And Weezer returns with their self-titled album, Weezer. Or the White Album, because it's white. And they do colors with their albums like, some artists do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive right in.
So first one on the list, California
by Blink-182.
We feel like it's a watered down, unhonest
version of what they used to be.
Yes.
There's always been kind of Tom DeLonge gets a lot of flack for Tom DeLonge gets a lot of flack for being kind of inconsistent when it comes to working with Mark and Travis from Blink-182, and they broke up years ago and they got back together. Either way. Tom was finally out. I think what I appreciate about Tom DeLonge is he's very honest to what he wants to do. He's always looking to evolve. So now he's working on like movie scripts for books he's being putting out with EPs by Angels and Airwaves, which a lot of people don't like Angels and Airwaves or love them. I'm a big fan.
Or or people just like We Don't Need to Whisper. The first thing
the first album they put out. There are some moments in their catalog where you're like, okay, this feels like another We Don't Need to Whisper.
Okay.
But lately, I would say they've really branched off. Like when they put out Dreamwalker with Elon Rubin, who's worked with Nine Inch Nails. Anyways, let's get back to what we were talking about here. California. So Tom DeLonge's out. Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio's in. Matt Skiba is a great writer. He's a really good guitar player for the pop punk genre. I was not a fan that they kept the name. But if
Definitely
they're going to replace Tom DeLonge, who better than Matt Skiba? Well, this was not the case. We were proven wrong. I believe that a lot of what California is Josh Fieldman. I think it's Josh Fieldman, who or John Fieldman, who was in Goldfinger. He's the producer of California. He produced bands like 5 Seconds to Summer. So this is a band that was inspired by Blink-182 by 13-year-old kids singing even poppier stuff than Blink. And now Mark Hoppus from Blink wants to bring back the old sound.
It just doesn't make sense.
Didn't work. It's very monotone. The lyrics are cheap. There's one or two songs. The first song, Cynical, is great. It's a very short song. It's got Mark showing his bass off a bit. It kicks right in with Matt with an angsty chorus. But it's like an intro. The rest of it, Bored to Death is really, I enjoyed Bored to Death. Rest of it, I can't handle it. Can't even listen to it. This is the first Blink-182 release that I can't listen to.
And yet it's up for Best Rock Album. So there's another reason why we're kind of anti-Grammy, because their selection is never very accurate or... Yeah, it's never accurate.
Sometimes me and Ben were saying sometimes they're like, hey, you know what? Why not nominate Weezer and Blink-182 for the people that listen to them growing up? Maybe that'll get more views.
And honestly, we haven't listened to like 4 of the 5 albums in Best Rock Album.
We heard that
and
Weezer...
that should tell you something, though.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not...
Yeah.
We're not like everybody, but like you were saying, it's...
If it's up for Best Rock Album, I think that people should know of it.
Yeah.
Or, like, be talking about it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you know, like, a good album you hear by, like, word of mouth from people you know, I find.
Yeah,
That's the best way to find out. Like, with us and Like Clockwork, I just hounded you to listen to that record. Yeah.
And I don't know why I put it off, but God, did it awaken, like, we were big fans of Songs from the Deaf.
Yeah,
and
it's a completely different record than that.
Songs for the Deaf. Sorry, I said Deaf.
Songs for the Deaf.
Songs for the Deaf.
Yes.
And we dove into their other stuff, but I think Like Clockwork just woke me from not listening to them anymore. I don't know what happened. But
we're going to talk about Queens of the Stone Age in a bit when we talk about 2017.
Yes.
So, yes, Beck's Rock Album. We're not happy with that category, but we do think that Blink is going to win.
I will say, I don't know enough about Panic at the Disco. I know their old stuff was a little emo and not that great. I actually recently listened to that BBC Live Lounge.
Yeah.
And they did a rendition of that old song. No, people ever heard of shutting the goddamn door. He's got a great fucking voice. And they did a cover of another song. I wish I could have it here. But I've been told that they've dove more into the Beatles sound. And it's something, like, I'm very open to checking out bands. Even bands that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like them. And somebody just goes, just try it. I'll fucking listen to it. I'll listen to New Rihanna. I'll listen to, God, you want me to listen to Nickelback? I'll listen to it. I'll probably tell you it sucks. But anyway.
Yeah, so, Best Rock Album. Now we're going to give you something special. We're going to give you our 3 albums of the year.
So special.
Yeah, so special, you know, because we feel like...
Breaking news.
The Grammys didn't accurately represent the best, in our opinion. So, for me, number 1 was Moonshaped Pool. You could have probably guessed that, but I just can't say enough about the album. I just thought it was beautiful. Given stuff that's been going on in my life, it was very relatable. And I think that's what all good music is. It's very relatable, it's honest, it makes you feel a certain way, it takes you back to a certain point or memory in your life. And I think that Radiohead's Moonshaped Pool, that'll be an album that a lot of people feel that way.
What about the album cover?
Oh,
The album art.
Yeah.
A big part of buying the vinyl for us.
Yeah, and I feel like, oh, it's right here.
Yeah, I have it sitting right here.
Yeah, it's just like, how do they take a picture like this? You think it's like they set it up this way?
No, this is definitely drawn. That's drawn for sure.
Yeah.
I think so. It's some form of art, but God, it's gorgeous. It reminds you a tad bit of how the Flaming Lips were with a War at the Mystics. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can't see it from here, so check it out.
Yeah. You know? We love our album art. Number 2 for me, lame album art. Probably one of the worst album covers in recent years.
They're known for that, though.
Yeah, and album titles. Metallica, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Great album cover, not so much, but the album, I was talking about it a bit earlier. Really a return to form. Some of the stuff they did on the album. Best stuff they've done since the Black Album, in my opinion. Say what you want about Metallica. Greatest metal band in the world. Probably always will be. I know a lot of people don't like them and they rip on them and Lars sucks and all that, but you can't deny their success.
Yep. And their huge influence on
every modern metal band, man. Yep. Every single modern metal band, even rock bands. The chugging, the diddle.
Yeah.
It's all Metallica.
That's true. Like, because you were saying, like, biggest metal band in the world, like, I would say Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Is the huge influence. But you're right with the chugs and all that and the aggression and the...
Metallica brought, you know, the aggression and speed of punk.
And nobody can do it like Metallica.
No, that's the thing. Like
everyone that tries to recreate it.
Slayer, they haven't done anything different since they came out. Yeah. They're just... I'm not a huge...
They've been trolling people online about it.
Of all the big 4 bands, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica is musically, they have the best body of work, bar none.
You know what it is, too, is like every extremely successful band, I think for metalheads, you don't have to be a metalhead to like Metallica.
No,
and it's the same with... you don't have to be a pop punk connoisseur to like Green Day or U2. They are one of those bands that if you're that successful, you're going to get a shitload of hate.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Oh, for sure.
And I will say, I think when we were talking about bands that put out hits that don't define the record, from what I heard of that album, Hardwire, I don't think that should have been the hit. And I don't think it should have been the fucking title of the album either.
No.
Because the rest of the album is so much better than that song.
I know, and that's how I feel.
Is a bit weak.
Yeah. And the story behind that song, they needed a song to kick off the album. And they were like, they had written everything. So they needed like a big opener. So James Hetfield wrote it in like, 10 minutes or something.
That happens a lot.
Yeah. Because that happened, Black Sabbath, their biggest hit, Paranoid. They need one more song for the record. The guy played the riff. Rest is history.
Wow.
And he was just like playing around. We need a riff.
I know that, not to bring them up every single time, but with Blink-182, when they were doing Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and that was an album that was kind of like they were fighting between getting more mature, but they still had to act like they were young.
Yeah.
They put out a lot of joke songs, and the record company was like, no, fuck this. We want 2 more hits that are going to hit the radio, not these joke songs that can't hit the radio. So Mark Hoppus apparently went home, pissed off, and wrote The Rock Show.
Oh, wow.
And was like, you want a fucking hit? I'll give you a stupid hit.
Yeah.
Right? And just wrote this stupid, catchy hit that was too quick. And he was like, oh, how will they like this, huh? One of the biggest songs they have. And apparently Tom DeLonge did the same with First Date. He's like, okay, I'll write some young First Date song that's quick and easy. Boom, becomes a huge hit. So that happens a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, sorry.
So my number 2 was Metallica. And then Deftones with Gore. A lot of people didn't like this album as compared to their last one. I was the same, but I still felt it was a really a strong album. But Deftones, everything they do is good. So they're one of those bands like 9 Inch Nails, or you can listen to them even if it's not really good. But I find that they're gonna have to do something different because I don't know. It just feels like they aren't as feels like they're at different points musically. Yeah. It's really heavy, but at the same time it's really soft, and sometimes that's it doesn't fit. But when it does work really well, it fits amazingly.
Yeah.
So that's what Deftones is to me.
And I think you're right about they're at different points in their lives too, where they
Yeah.
want to make different music. And I have to mention them. What's the lead singer's name?
Chino.
Chino. He's got a project called Crosses.
Yeah.
It's very industrial. It feels like Nine Inch Nails or Pussifer kind of.
Lots of like drum beats and bass and stuff.
Yeah, it feels like you could play it at like a fucking vampire club, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it. And I'm not a huge Deftones fan. I love White Pony, which is great. Of course, that's their big one, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants them to top White Pony.
Yeah.
That's how that goes. But Crosses is a great side project to check out.
It is. Even like, and it's good stuff. Like, even if like you like dance music or something, you would like this stuff.
Crosses,
like, yeah.
For sure.
It's Connor showed it to me, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that's Chino. And then, but it wasn't like Deftones Chino, and it was kind of like, well, that's kind of refreshing, you know? It's not like a huge, 8-string guitar chord after him singing. It's like, just like soft.
Yeah, I think there's barely any guitar, maybe just bass.
Yeah.
And then the rest is all tech stuff, like keyboard and stuff like that.
Another note, Deftones going on tour with Rise Against.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Who's headlining?
Deftones.
Good.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not a huge fan.
No.
But they have a huge fan base.
Yes, and they put on I saw them with a Perfect Circle years ago, Rise Against, and they put on a great show, but I would say Perfect Circle should have been headlining that.
Yeah.
But the song Hero War.
Yeah.
What a fucking beautiful song that is. And the music video, like there are a few songs, I don't care how wussy I sound here, but there are a few songs that bring a tear to my eye. Yeah. That is one of them.
Yeah.
So I give them a lot of credit for that.
Swing Life Away, that was like a huge song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are my top three. Moonshaped Pool, Hardwired, and Gore by Deftones. Connor, what are your top three?
My top three. Okay, first, Phantagram's album called 3. It's their third record. It's fantastic. I know that the lead singer's sister died, and that influenced the how the music was going. It was the first time I ever heard them, actually, and they have that hit "You Don't Get Me High Anymore." It doesn't do the rest of the album justice. It's a fun song. I like it a lot, but there are some songs. There's one song. It may be my favorite song of the year.
Oh wow!
Called "You're Mine." And it's between the female singer and the male singer singing back and forth, and it's clubby, and it's gorgeous. I love it. Check it out. Phantagram's You're Mine. Yeah. So that's definitely my first. My second is Martyr Loser King by Saul Williams, which is a play on of Martin Luther King. It's a concept album about a hacker with the username Martyr Loser King.
Yeah.
What a hack. No, like computer hacker. But yeah, it's a fantastic record. It's very politically driven. I think it speaks to a lot of what people fear today, and I think the core of the album is about the hacker destroying all information that America holds. Like everything's just deleted and start fresh because things are so corrupt.
Yeah.
Saul Williams is a fantastic poet. If you get a chance to listen to Saul Williams, please do it.
So it's kind of like, well, not exactly, but it's like kind of like Year Zero type thing.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. You know this.
Yeah.
Saul Williams, how I even got to know Saul Williams is he worked with Trent Reznor on an album called Niggy Tardust.
Yes.
The inevitable fall of Niggy Tardust, I think.
Yeah. So
Rise and Fall.
Like kind of like a tribute to Bowie, so obviously.
The album. And he does a cover of what's it called by U2? What's that song from War? The big hit.
Sunday Bloody Sunday?
Sunday Bloody Sunday. Sorry, I was gapping there.
That's all right.
He does a good rendition of it, and it's totally different. It's not Bono singing high notes. It's very spoken word. And Trent Reznor worked on... So my point is Trent Reznor worked on that album with him. And it's funny, they both influenced each other, because when you listen to Niggy Tardust, you go, wow, it sounds like Trent Reznor made this music. And then once you start to get to know Saul Williams, you can see how much Saul Williams inspired Trent Reznor for Year Zero.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, like, I got survivalism! The way he yells, and when he started getting very pumped up instead of singing and screaming, when Trent Reznor started doing that kind of stuff, that came from Saul Williams.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to early Saul Williams, and you're like, wow, this sounds like Reznor. So, but he kind of went, I think Saul Williams' last couple records didn't do so well, and now he's kind of doing it all on his own. And I saw him live, and all he had was his laptop, play the instrumental, grabbed a mic, jumped into the crowd. We all circled around him in a little club, and he just rapped at us. And it was amazing. It was such a great, like, I love seeing the traditional rock band and you're far away and you see this huge production, all this. But this was a nice change up. Anyway, check it out. Martyr Loser King by Saul Williams. Third, speaking of Nine Inch Nails, not the actual event CP. Wow, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
For one. He was kind of, once in a while he'd do an interview, yeah, we're working on Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. And then he released the Burning Bright song, the last one.
Which is spoken word. Reminds me of
the chorus is just so epic.
It reminds me of like Roger Waters' The Wall.
Something like that.
But I think what people, it's a huge change up from what he did in Hesitation Marks.
So much of a contrast of difference. It's and I love that he's brought back the layers. Layered sound.
Exactly.
That's what he's known for. And Hesitation Marks, it was so like stark and like bare, just like beats with a drum machine, and then he would add like, a few cool sounds. Whereas this is just
it feels dense. Like Hesitation Marks, kind of like King of Limbs or whatever. It feels like a good way to just jump into Nine Inch Nails if you're not familiar with their work.
Yeah.
Instead of going right in a downward spiral where it's like, holy shit, what's coming at me right now? You
can't really listen to Mr. Self-Destruct.
The first song without going, what the fuck am I listening to? So, wow, what a switch up. It's like you were saying, it's busy. It's much more complex. It's, the layering is unbelievable. Yeah. I think it won't, it's not radio friendly at all. The first song, if anything, maybe a little more radio friendly, but it's still it's in your face. Like it's not, a lot of people wouldn't like it like your traditional. Yeah. But it's a lot of spoken word. Yeah. So it involves a lot of reading the lyrics.
Yeah, like the second song. I didn't even know what he was saying a lot of time, but like that's classic Trent Reznor, like on the downward spiral and stuff. He does a lot of that.
It's creepy because when you're listening to it on headphones, I realize there's one part of, I think the second or third song, it might be Dear World, I can't remember. Yeah, it's
the second one,
where he is saying a whole monologue in one ear while saying another one in the left, like from right to left. It's saying two different sentences, like two different monologues. Yeah. So it's weird. You really have to. Yeah. It wasn't. I think they did it for themselves. Yeah. And I think what came with that were fans were like, "Fuck yes, this is the part of Nine Inch Nails I missed."
When I was listening to it, like the first two songs, I was like, "Okay, this is good." But then "She's Gone Away" came on, and I was like, "Oh man!" Like the chorus is just like. Gets so swampy and dark, and then it goes into that what? Yeah, and it's just like so good.
There's a lot of you can tell. It was nice to see him go branch off and do soundtracks and work with his wife on How to Destroy Angels, because I feel like She's Gone feels a lot like that world. Yeah, she's gone. She's gone. Like it's just so.
And then Dave Grohl, he makes an appearance on the fourth song. Yeah, The Idea of You. Which is,
a fantastic. It feels
classic Reznor.
It feels like the album Broken. Yeah, a lot. Which is, you never would have thought you would hear anything like Broken again.
No, because that was a point in time where it's like
it was very metally. Yeah, it was a lot of metal and
because he wanted to put something out because people label him as like synth pop, right? Yeah, for Pretty Hate Machine, and he's like, no. I'm going to give you heavy.
This. I'm pretty sure he learned guitar for that album. Yeah. Like, it wasn't even like him...
Manson used to play guitar for him, eh?
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah, like on Broken, if you watch the music videos, Manson is there before he's famous.
Holy shit, I didn't even know that.
That's how they knew each other.
If you guys know, Trent Reznor got Marilyn Manson...
Famous.
He was his protege.
Antichrist Superstar. Say what you want about Manson. It's one of the greatest albums of the 90s.
Yeah, and it was produced and a lot of it written by Trent Reznor.
That's why I connect with it. I've been listening to it a lot lately, and like, you're just like, but like I said, like, you give Trent Reznor credit, but Manson, like the way he sings, it's just like, it's like a bit of the Doors, or like, it's like a bit of a Doors, and like, but it's like evil, and like, it doesn't sound like Nine Inch Nails. Like, he gives it, like, it does to an extent, but he gives it his own spin. Yeah. It's much more intense than lyrically speaking, I find. Yeah. And it's too bad they had that fallout, but apparently they're on good terms now. They don't.
Yeah, they're not.
We don't know that world. No. We're just speculating, but... it's a music business. Stuff like that happens all the time.
Who knows what happens behind closed doors, right? Exactly. Who knows?
But you can't deny that, those two, they made some great music together.
Yeah, they did. And Trent Reznor apparently has, this EP was kind of like a, here's what's to kind of come. And there's two projects coming in.
Right.
There's two projects coming at the for 2017. So I think we'll discuss that though next time.
Yes, we had a blast. 45 minutes talking about the Grammys. It turned into a huge discussion about music, and that's what we love to do, man. So next episode, we will give you the rundown for 2017, what we're looking forward to the most. So there's a lot of bands. You'll hear about that. Don't worry about it. Next week, we'll talk about that. So, thanks for tuning into the first episode of The New Noise. Really appreciate it, guys. And we'll see you next time. From me and Connor.
Yeah.
See ya.